water our precious resources. Water our precious resources. So let's have a revision in terms of distribution. First of all, distribution, that means distribution of water. Distribution of water means what part of the earth is covered with water. So number one, almost 3/4 part of earth is covered with water. Number one. Okay, that means almost 75%. Almost 75% of the earth is covered with water. Rest is 25%. That means 25% is land. And in that 3/4 part, that means in that 75%, almost 97% of water is saline. Saline means, or you can say salty water. And why it is salty? Because it has soluble salt present in it. Soluble salt present in ocean and seas. Okay, most important part in terms of distribution. Third one, rest more than 2%. More than 2%. More than 2% are in the form of ice and glaciers. Okay, more than 2% are in the form of ice and glaciers. So that part of water is regarded as the fresh water but can't be used. But this part of water can't be used. So only less than 1% of water is usable, which are in the form of rivers, okay, streams, ponds, lakes, and last one, ground water. Okay, so these four important points are very much important in terms of distribution. Number one, only 3/4 part of the earth is, almost 3/4 part of the earth is covered with water. Okay, and in that also almost 97% of water is in the form of ocean and seas and are not usable. That means why they are not usable? Because they are saline in nature. Saline means that have soluble salt present in it. Then more than 2% are in the form of ice and glaciers. Then we will come to the part that we mostly use. That means usable part of water. So it is less than 1%, which are in the form of rivers, streams, ponds, lakes, and even ground water. Okay, so if this all part of water decreases, then we will be having a water crisis. We will be having a water crisis. Okay, so this was all about distribution of water. Now second one, let's talk about importance of water. Number B, importance. That means, as we all know, water is very much important for us. Okay, for us means both living, both plants as well as animals. So first of all, let's talk about in animals. In animals, water is used for digestion. Okay, digestion of food. Okay, then cooking, bathing is another thing, the major part. Okay, that's why we drink. Why we drink water? We drink to digest our food. We drink to digest our food. Second one, for regulating body temperature. Regulating body temperature. That means water helps our body to regulate body temperature according to the climate of the place. Okay, according to the climate of the place. Then there are various other uses, as for example, to remove the waste material from our body also. Okay, it is used. Second one, in terms of plants. So plants mostly use water for what? Seed use water for germination. Number one, germination of seeds. Okay, then transportation of nutrients. Transportation of nutrients. Okay, then we have in the process of photosynthesis, that means for preparing food. Preparing food during photosynthesis. Okay, so this was all about importance of water for both plants and animals. So in animals, digestion of food, regulating body temperature, and even transportation of nutrients. Then in plants, for germination of seed, okay, transportation of nutrients, and preparing food during the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so distribution and importance. This was the revision in terms of distribution and importance. Now let's move towards another part, that is occurrence of water. Third part. Occurrence means in which form does water is present in the earth. Okay, or in which different types of forms do we get water? Number C. Occurrence, or you can say forms also. Forms of water. So water basically exists in three forms. Number one, solid. Number two, liquid. And number three, gases. Okay, so as we all know, in terms of distribution of water, we talked about water present in the form of ice and glaciers. So that is in the form of solid. That means ice and snow. Okay, ice and snow, solid. Liquid, that means simple water. Okay, normal condition. And gases, that means water vapor. Water vapor. basically water exists in three forms: solid, liquid and gas. Okay, so solid in the form of ice and snow, liquid in the form of water and gas in the form of water vapor, and these three forms can be interchanged. Okay, can be interchanged. Number 1 point. Number 2 point, can be changed by temperature. That means temperature means by heating or cooling. Okay, that means if we heat solid form of water, it will change in liquid. Okay, then if you further heat this liquid, it will be converted into gas, and when we again cool this, that means when we again condense this, that means the process of cooling, when we condense gas, that means when we cool gas, it will again come back to liquid. Okay, and when further cooled, it will again form solid. So it can be interchanged. Okay, it can be interchanged by heating and cooling, and that is done by natural process also. Okay, that's why in some places we receive snowfall. Okay, and in other places also sometimes we receive hailstorm. Okay, sometimes we receive hailstorm. So this was all about occurrence of water, occurrence of forms of water. Now let's talk about sources of water. Number D, sources of water. Okay, so the first important thing is rain and snow. Number 1, rain and snow. As we all know, rain is the ultimate source of water. Okay, it is the basic source of water. When it rains, and if it rains in a normal condition, that means in a normal temperature, it rains in the form of liquid. But at some places where the temperature is quite low, it falls as snow. It falls as snow. Okay, so rainwater is considered to the purest form of natural water, and most of the source of water we get it from the rainfall only. Okay, and snow also in the form of ice and glaciers. Number 1. Number 2, when rainfall occurs, okay, it goes into rivers, then lakes and ponds. So this is the second source of water. Okay, second source of water. So rivers, as we all know, there are various rivers in the earth. Okay, as for example, longest river we have river Nile or Nile, and largest river Amazon in terms of world. Okay, and in terms of India we have the longest river Ganges. Okay, and it is a very holy river also. Okay, and these rivers provide mostly fresh water. That means water that are used for household purposes. Okay, or even industrial purposes and agriculture purpose also. Okay, so what happens, the water that we get from rivers are mostly used for hydroelectricity. okay, by constructing a dam, okay, in the river, what you can say, where river flows, okay, where river flows. So why the hydroelectricity is important? Because it gives us electricity also, as well as it prevents floods also. It prevents floods also. That's why hydroelectricity or hydroelectric power is very much important in terms of rivers. Okay, in terms of rivers. Then we have another, sorry, 3. Oceans and seas. Oceans and seas. So as we all know, almost 97% of water are in the form of ocean and seas, but it's not usable and we can't use this water. Why we can't use this water? Because this water mostly contains salt. This water mostly contains salt. Okay, that means it mostly contains soluble salt. We can't see it, but it contains salt. But various processes have been generated to use it, like desalinization, okay, where water or the salt is removed from the water, and this water is being used for other purposes also. Okay, then we have well springs, wells and springs, and even groundwater. Okay, wells means kua, as you all know. Okay, mostly we get it from the groundwater. Springs means small rivers. Okay, small rivers. Okay, so we get water from rain and snow, number 1, rivers, lakes and ponds, then oceans and seas, and well springs and groundwater. And this groundwater is mostly used by humans, because as we all know, in many places rivers are not present. Okay, so, and in most places lakes are not present, ponds are not present. Okay, and in some places there is a lack of rainfall also. So in that case, the groundwater is act as a major source of water. Okay, so this was all about occurrence and source of water. Now let's move towards another part, that is circulation of water in nature. E. How water escapes from earth and by what process it comes down to earth. Okay, number 1, circulation of water, or we can simply write circulation. Okay, and in that also, first we will learn about process by which water leaves the earth. Process by which water leaves earth. So there are various process, okay, by which water leaves the earth. So number 1 process is evaporation. Number 1 process is evaporation. So it is the process where liquid changes into vapor. So it is the process where liquid changes into vapor or gas. Okay, due to the earth's temperature, due to this earth temperature. Okay, and major portion of the water leaves through evaporation only. Number B, we have respiration. Number B, we have respiration. So another process is by respiration. Respiration means loss of water through breathing. Loss of water through loss of water by animals during breathing. Okay, so when we breathe, most of the water is as we all know that our body is heated. Okay, and due to that heat also, the water from our body, it escapes through the vapor. Okay, and in this process, what we release, we release other gases also, mostly carbon dioxide. We release. So breathing. So what is the process of breathing? So it is the process of inhaling and exhaling of gases. Inhaling and exhaling of gases. So the process of inhaling and exhaling of gas is called breathing. Inhaling means taking of gas, and giving out gas, gases. It's called inhalation and exhalation. Okay, and a third process is by the process of transpiration. Which is mostly performed by plants or trees. Okay, so transpiration is the process where plants release water through the process called transpiration. Okay, and there are factors that affect the transpiration. Those factors are temperature, means if the temperature is high, okay, the rate of transpiration is also high. Then another one is humidity. Humidity means the amount of water vapor present in the air. If there is a much more higher temperature, that means in the atmosphere the amount of water vapor is much more. That is called humidity. Then wind speed. And at last we have time of the day. Okay, so circulation of water in first process by which water leaves the earth. So the process by which water is lost from the earth is termed as number 1 evaporation, where liquid water changes into water vapor. Okay, then we have respiration, mostly performed by animals, where the process of breathing is involved, which is also known as inhalating and exhalating of gases, or inhalation or exhalation of gas. Then last one, transpiration. Okay, mostly performed by plants and trees. Okay, that means leaves of plants and trees we can say. leaves of plants and trees. Then let's talk about how it comes back to earth. Okay, so how it comes back to earth. Number 2 process. Water back to earth. Back to earth. So when this all process, by evaporation, by respiration and by transpiration, when water leaves the earth, it goes in the atmosphere, okay, and forms a cloud, and when that cloud bursts, okay, or when it becomes heavier, it falls down as rain and snow. Okay, so it comes by the process of rain and snow. Okay, and this by this rain, okay, it fills up through small streams, then larger rivers, okay, and finally to oceans and seas. Okay, and even groundwater is also filled by this rain. So rain and snow act as a most important process by which the water comes back to earth. Now let's talk about another part, F, water cycle in nature. Water cycle. So it is very important process by which most plants and animals, they get water by this process only, water cycle. So as we all know that when water leaves the earth surface, okay, by the process of transpiration, evaporation and respiration, it forms a cloud. Then after that, when the cloud becomes heavier, the water fall down as rainfall and snow, and then that water is filled in the oceans and seas, and same process repeats itself. Okay, so the definition of water cycle is the continuous circulation of water in nature. Continuous circulation of water in nature is called water cycle. Okay, so the continuous circulation of water in nature is termed as water cycle. Okay, so in water cycle mostly not, it is very much important to distribute water in various parts of the earth. Okay, it helps in distributing water through rainfall. Okay, through rainfall. So we will not talk more about water cycle. Then another point is rainfall. That means what happens when it rains heavily and what happens when it doesn't rain for a long period of time. So as we all know, rainfall occurs mostly in the month of July to September. July to September. And when there is excess rainfall, okay, so when there is excess rainfall, what does it causes? It causes floods in the adjacent area of the rivers, okay, floods in adjacent area of rivers or streams. Okay, so when there is a excess rainfall, okay, and due to that various types of diseases also can occur. Second one, when there is no rainfall, when there is no rainfall for a long period of time, what will happen? That type of situation is called drought. Okay, that means it's another phenomena or it's another condition where there is a lack of water, where there is a lack of water in the soil, lack of water in the soil, okay, and this can cause many problems related to food production, okay, related to the loss of what you can say, cattles, okay, then the farmers will be hampered, okay, so there are various problems related to it. But only the thing in this term, only you have to remember about floods and drought, okay. Flood occurs when there is excess rainfall and drought occurs when there is no rainfall for a long period of time. Okay, now let's talk about last point, that is conservation of water. Or we can say water conservation. Water conservation. So in water conservation, as we all know, water is a natural resources, is a renewable natural resources, but we need to conserve it. Why we need to conserve it? Because less than 1% of the water is only available for use, okay, only available for use, and there are various methods by which water can be conserved. Number one, by planting trees, by planting trees. Number two, by constructing dams, where the water can be stored for many uses, okay, and this will check the flood also, this will prevent the flood also, then by drip irrigation, okay, drip irrigation in terms of agriculture, okay, that means only that part of the water is used where it is required, okay, not all part. Then at last we have what? Rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting. That means the process of rainwater harvesting. So these are the methods by which water can be conserved. As we all know, it is a renewable natural processes, but the thing is that due to overuse, what is happening? This water is getting depleted. So to control that, number one, planting of trees is much more important. Constructing of dams on the rivers, okay, which helps in producing electricity also. Then by drip irrigation, the third part in the agriculture, where the water is not wasted. Then we have rainwater harvesting, the last part, okay, where rainwater is conserved. Rainwater is conserved by what you can say, by storing it from the rooftop or in the open